Beatrice for the introduction. Good to see everyone here again online. And today I'm going to share with you the course preview for the business technology requirement architectures. So without further ado, let's begin the session. Okay, so who is suitable for this session and how does this course came about? Okay, so in the first place, any of you who would like to learn how to align business with IT, this include IT project stakeholders, whether you are from business or IT team, the digital transformation team, or if you are an IT business consultant who has to involve in tender, RFP, RFQ, or if you are a project manager or someone in the project management office, or of course, if you are an IT architect, doesn't matter which domain you belong to, or if you are starting your career as a business data or system analyst, this course will be suitable for you, right? And how does this course came about? This course is mapped through the skill framework for IMDA, for ICT itself. And in the skill framework, there are 7 architect roles, right? Namely the EA, business architect, data architect, software, infra, security, and solution architects. So all these architects, there is a set of skill competency. As you can see in here, if you go into the IMDA skill framework for ICT, you'll notice that the architect role is defined in here. In each of the architect role, for this particular course, we are focusing on the business need analysis skills competency at level 4. Okay, so what this means is that we are looking into how we can investigate assessing business process, evaluate requirement, and define the scope of recommended solution and program based on the concept of IT architecture. Okay, so if you look at each of these roles, you'll notice that on the left is the job description. If you go into the skill framework, on the right, there will be a list of competency that you need to fulfill as an architect. But of course, besides as an architect, if you are a business analyst, data analyst, you will also see that one of the competency is to have the business need analysis, but probably is at different level, right? So as a data architect, you need to have this skill set. As a software architect, this is also business need analysis will be one of them. Or if you are infra architect, or if you are a business architect, solution architect, or even a security architect. Business need analysis is one of the competency that you need to fulfill. So by attending this course, you will learn how to master the business need analysis skill set. Okay, so of course, for EA is also part of the role in solution and business architect, whereby you will also need to fulfill the skill set. So what is in this course, business technology requirement architectures? So it's a 3-day course, right? At the end of the 3 days, there will be open book assessment to test you on the knowledge that you have learned. This is part of the WSG course, whereby you would have to, at the end of the day, you will learn all the skill set based on it. So these are the curriculums and the modules that we are running through. So I'm going to go through this one by one with you. Okay, but before I do that, I would like to share with you videos.
ATD Solution presents the story of Mr. Tech and Mr. Biz. There are 5 typical mistakes companies make that can be addressed by enterprise architecture. Mistake 1: IT and business miscommunication. Your IT team talks in technical terms while your business team cannot articulate their IT expectations. This causes many companies to lose money. Mistake 2: islands of systems. Many companies implement IT projects as standalone systems, or separate islands which do not complement and cannot even communicate with each other. This unnecessarily increases complexity and raises maintenance costs. Mistake 3: stuck in era of automation. Usually, the approach is to use IT to automate certain business processes. Such a scenario was very project management focused, resulting in time, resources, and budgets being fixed based on broadly defined requirements. Mistake 4, IT and business strategies not aligned. The role of the IT department is to map out what applications and technology a company should implement to keep itself competitive. But many IT professional comes from the IT side, not the business side, and usually does not understand the business needs of the company. Mistake 5, IT viewed as a cost center instead of a profit center. Return on investment is difficult to measure when it comes to IT, which is often seen as a cost of doing business. So, where does your IT department stand? Is it in IT hell? In deep water? On dry ground? Or on the top of the hill? Now let us review the solution to the 5 typical mistakes. Mistake 1, IT and business miscommunication. The solution is in finding a common vocabulary that allows the IT team to think in technical terms but yet familiar with business jargon, and for the business team to accurately express what it needs. Enterprise architecture facilitates that common vocabulary. Mistake 2, islands of systems. Enterprise architecture allows you to review the entire system, and eventually make a strategic decision on whether to decommission the existing system and buy a completely new one, or to modify the existing system so that they can communicate with each other. Mistake 3, stuck in era of automation. Companies need to enter the digitization mode, which is more enterprise architecture focused, where enterprise architecture development comes before project management, so that technology is more agile. Mistake 4, IT and business strategies not aligned. The enterprise architect should familiarize himself with the business requirements of the company, so as to be able to integrate the company's technology and business strategies. Mistake 5, IT viewed as a cost center instead of a profit center. With enterprise architecture, which is designed to help companies make decisions to improve the productivity of the business through effective and efficient use of IT, it is possible to view IT as an investment that generates measurable value. Here are the list of EA benefits. Your IT team thinks technical, but talks business. Your business team can accurately express their IT wants and needs. You can accurately calculate the ROI for IT projects. Your staff are equipped with the right skill sets to progress with the company. You have a digital map of your enterprise. Your IT department generates profit. If you find that your organization suffers from any one or any combination of the above 5 mistakes highlighted here, it could definitely benefit from enterprise architecture. It's as good a time as any to get started on it. For more information about enterprise architecture, please visit www.atdsolution.com.
Okay, so basically this video summarizes some of the learning outcome and objective we try to achieve. So I'm going to go into each of the areas that we are looking at, right? So in the first, on the day 1, we learn about business IT architecture and business IT value. So in terms of business need analysis, this is EA approach that we are trying to achieve. So in the first place, as you can see in the video, many IT projects is viewed as an expense instead of in ROI, return of investment. How do we make IT able to deliver business value? So this is what we do in section 1, right? So how do you adopt the right technology platform today? How do you choose a solution today? Do you go by cost? Do you go by requirement? Or any other factors that you are looking at? So the choice of a technology solution at the end of the day is very important, right? So sometimes business department might do the choice and IT would have to follow through. So if we don't choose the technology correctly, at the end of the day, we might be losing money, losing credibilities, and it will be very costly for the organization. So in this unit, we learn how to choose solutions, right? Based on several factors. We look at industry drivers, the customer business driver, as well as the cost driver. So, so that we can choose a solution that aligns to the business. Okay, and the other areas that we look at for this section is we are looking at the ROI. Okay, for every IT projects, there will be a ROI. So we will be looking into what David Rico has put on for the ITA ROI, IT architecture ROI models. So firstly, for any projects that came in, we will look at whether is there a financial improvement. This can mean that whether are we making more money or are we saving the cost, right? For every IT project. So beside money, is there any other things that we should look at? Okay, definitely. So number two, we will be looking at how does this solution give us growth in our markets? Does it increase our shareholder value? Does it open up, new market for our organization? Okay. Third, we also look at how does this solution reduce the complexity or the redundancy, right? Before we purchase. So one of the factors that we look at is if the solution helps us to reduce complexity and redundancy, it will have extra points on it. And number four, we also look at does it help in terms of market opportunity and growth? Because of the new solution, it might help us to grow into new markets, right? It might help us to go into new initiative. And last but not least, it actually helps us in terms of our ecosystem, in terms of across the department. It will help to foster democracy and it helps to improve, right, across the department and also across the ecosystems. That will be some of the solutions, some of the factors that we will look in, and as we study the return of investment, right? So this is the first section that we look at. Second, we will also look at how do we propose a business case for IT solutions, okay? So what we will look at is we are looking into the business technology architecture body of knowledge. We look into governance as a risk, and we also look into how that IT architecture can be engaged in order to come up with the business case. Right, so this will cover the area whereby we will focus on how IT and business strategy need to align, right? So without that, we will not be able to share a common vision between IT and business to meet the business strategy and requirement. And secondly, we also look at every time we implement a new systems, we tend to create islands of system, right, within the organization. In the past, we have island of system. Now we also have islands of digitization projects, right? So every project that came out, let's do cloud, let's do AI, for example, then we will create a project that has its own look into its own processes, look into its own database, look into its own infrastructures, and each one will become silo. So how can we prevent that? So this is where business technology architecture body of knowledge, whereby we will look into it to look at the different area of aspects. So let us look at what is BTABoK. Okay, BTABoK is originally from Iasa. Okay, Iasa is an association for all technology architects, right? Just like we have chartered accountants, right? An association for all accountants. Similarly, for architect, there is an association called Iasa, which is based in US, but it has spread over 70,000 members over 50 countries to date. And Iasa is run by architects, and the mission is to ensure the quality of business technology architectures, right, by developing and delivering standard education program and also application program and services. And Iasa is not only looking into software architect as the name originally implied. Now it look into all domain of architecture, including infrastructure, enterprise, application, information, business, as well as those who inspired to be architects. Okay, so the motivation for Iasa is because they have seen many IT projects fail. The definition of fail is IT projects, right? Traditionally, we look at how, when we talking about project management, we look at whether project deliver on time, on schedule, and on budget. So many of the time, if the project doesn't satisfy any of this, it's considered a fail. So how can we reduce the failure of IT projects, right? And also, IT architecture work has always been overlooked. There is no career path and there is no resources that is available. So this is Iasa motivation for setting up the professional body. Okay, so in the past, to be an IT architect, you need someone who has very experienced. Okay, I don't want to use the word all, but it's just experience in delivering IT projects. And probably this person would have gone through many roles, right? And in IT, very interestingly, as you move on to different projects, right? It doesn't matter if successful or fail, you will be part of your resume, right? And you will move on to the next bigger projects, right? That you have. So this is what is happening in the past. But today, with Iasa, body of knowledge, anyone who interested become an IT architect can be one. They not necessarily have experience, but of course, as an aspiring architect, you can learn actually the science of becoming an architect, right? So Iasa has moved through by introducing something called the Business Technology Architecture Body. In the past, it's called the IT Architecture Business or Body. We call it BTABoK, and now they rename it to BTABoK. In version 3, it is looking at holistically all areas of transformation, right? It is looking into how a business can be transformed, how we can improve the customer's journey experience, and how employee can be transformed in terms of their skills, and also information and operation can be transformed as well. All this can be, you can find on Iasa website, whereby you can look at each and every part of it. But for this particular course, we will be looking into the competency of architects as a start, right? So what do you mean by competency? So in the year 2010, actually Iasa have did a survey to send out to all the architects in the world, as you can see, right? Because there is a chapters over 50 over country. So they sent out the survey and to ask everyone, what do you think? What type of skills that is required to be a good IT architect? So the survey came back and they found that there are 250 skill sets that is required to be a good IT architect. So with that, it actually recategorized to 5 pillars and 4 specialization. So what are the 5 foundation pillars? Okay, so these are the 5 foundation pillars. So the first one is business technology strategy, which is one of the core pillar. We have IT environment, that means to look into what is in the IT shop house. We have design skills, okay, human dynamic, because most of the time IT professional, IT architects need to interact with a lot of people around them, whether it's internal and external. And we are also looking into quality attribute, which is quite important when we build IT solutions, right? So these are the areas of skills and competency that is being covered in each of the categories of the foundation pillar. Okay, beside the 5 foundation pillar, we are also looking into 4 architect specialized skill set. Okay, so these 4 specialized skill set include business architecture, software architecture, information architecture, and infrastructure architecture. And in terms of role, we also have the solution architecture, which is actually across all the 4 domains of architecture. And also we have enterprise architecture, whereby in Iasa, enterprise architecture is defined as a role, not a specialization, which is also looking across all the area of specialization. Okay, so these are the skill and competency for each of the specialization skill set. So with that, we move on to the third areas, right? The business process and priority analysis. In here, we look at business process and also how do we prioritize? Okay, many of the time, we have a lot of requests, right? In terms of projects, IT solution, IT projects, as well as change requests. How do we know which one do we pick first? Do we base on whether we have the time, whether we have the resources or the cost in order to schedule of our project, like what we did for our project management? Or should we look at business priorities? Okay, so this section, we introduce business architectures to look at how we can assess the business priority. As what you can see earlier on in the videos, right? When we do automations, many times we look at how we can automate the process. We are not looking into how we can digitally transform the entire capabilities. So instead of automating the process, like what you see here, A to J process, we should look at how we can actually digitize the process to produce additional capability for the business, right? From 1980 to 2010, we are in the era of automation. But today, we are in the era of digitizations. So in the era of automation, we are very technology focused. That's where just now you see, right? We produce a lot of island of information. Each IT project, each IT initiative will produce a new set of software and hardware and a new set of data as well. In terms of project management, we are focusing on time, resource, and budget, right? And whatever the IT department want, we will say, okay, tell us about it, and we will see whether we have time, resource, and budget to help you to fulfill, and we'll prioritize our project according to that. But the challenge is, many of the time, IT project fail, right? Our definition of project fail, as mentioned earlier on, is based on the time, resource, and budget. So most of the time, IT project is not able to fulfill on time or on resources or on budget, right? And also, we notice that a lot of the IT budget is set aside for the maintenance because when we do implementation, we say that, okay, no worries. Once the system is in, you get all your best practices. But guess what? Every organization is different. And now you will have a lot of change requests, right? So, and you have a lot of maintenance costs. So that will escalate the budget of the IT solution. And sometimes it also lack of business value for IT investment. Sometimes we are going in for a solution because it's technology focused. We want AI, we want cloud, for example, but we didn't look into or consider what is the business value of these particular solutions, right? And as a result, IT become a stopper in many times. Instead of helping the business, it actually slow down the business, right? In the digitization era, we are more business focused, right? Who define the requirement? Customer, right? Not the department. Right, we are more architecture focused, right? We need to look into architecture before project management, and the benefit is better project success, more agile, and we are able to define the business investment for IT solution, right? So moving from computerization to digitizations is that in the past, whenever we have a requirement, business will define, right? IT will come up with the scope, and then after that, we'll pass back to business again. But in the era of this digitization, customer will define what is good, what do they want to look at, and business and IT should integrate in a way that technology is helping business to leapfrog into the next level, right? To deliver their capabilities. In here, we also look at business architecture as a link between the corporate and also the initiative. In every initiative that we look at, or any solution we look at, we will identify what is the current state and what is the future state. And we will look into all areas of IT architecture domain, as we see earlier on. We will look into business. how it aligns with strategy. We will look into data, how it can be standardized and able to share across all. We'll look into application, how it can be reused, it can be shared, and also look into infrastructure as well. So for every initiative, we are approached from all areas of architectures, right? So what this means is that in the past, when we have an initiative, we always came up with a digital strategy, which will define the goal, capability, and driver for the technology adoption. And many of the time, we go straight into transformation, whereby we straight away, we look for a solution, we look for vendors, without looking into the overall of what we have today and what we want to achieve in the future. This is where enterprise architectures is in, whereby we will look into business, data, application, and technology domain in order to support our digital transformation. So this is what you will learn actually during the section 3. So for section 4, we will look into the end-to-end requirements process, right? So this is where we talk about communication between business and IT, right? For a communication to work, it needs to have two parties. So as you can see in here, IT, right? The guy with the glasses is talking about binary, okay, 1010, but whereas business is talking about money, right? So how can we make the two of them align? So many of the time, business and IT is not talking the same language, right? So we hope that they can be aligned. So many of the time, you will see that during a course, we don't see only IT people, but we also see business unit to come together to define the requirement so that they can speak the same language. But what is the problem here, right? Many of the time, business user cannot articulate what they want. Okay, I can see all the IT is nodding their head, right? But also, at one point, business was saying that, okay, you are the expert, right? You tell us what we need to do, right? On the other hand, IT will say that you must give me your requirement. If not, how do I know what you want, right? At the end of the day. So this is how the business articulate, and what is being perceived might be something different, right? So in this example, we have a swing, right? This is what the business articulate, and this is what the IT think. So at the end of the day, how business explain it is different, right? Or how the customer explain it. This is how it's being explained. Okay. When we capture the requirement, okay, this is how being captured. And when the system analyst design it, this is how it is. Project leader seems to have a different idea. Okay. So this is what the customer explain it, or what the business explain. The project is never documented properly, right? And how the programmer write it is different. Perhaps the programmer is being outsourced, right? They have a different understanding. And when the system is deployed, this is how it look like. So this is how it's being explained. And at the end of the day, you know, things keep changing, right? So the bill become high. And the system has no support, no proper documentation, but actually at the end of the day, what the customer really need is a swing like this. So it is important for two parties, and not only the one who actually explain and the one who capture the requirement need to know how to do it correctly, but also everyone who involved in the entire process and the life cycle of the software development, right? Be it the business, the project manager, the developer, the DBA, the tester, all need to speak the same language. Okay, so in this section, we look at how that can be done. Okay, so that there is an end-to-end flow from requirement capturing to design, to implementation, testing, and deployment. So they all speak the same language. In here, we look at the use case for UML to make it consistent, right? Okay, so at the end of the day, if there is something that is amiss, we should be able to trace from the requirements to the design to the code. Okay, what is the problem? Because at the end of the day, as you can see, if the requirement is not captured correctly, the mistake will flow below, and it's more difficult and more costly to rectify. So if you have captured your requirement correctly upfront, it will save a lot of cost and effort, right, to be done. So in this section, we also look at requirement pattern, right? So if somebody new join your departments to say that they want to learn how to define the requirement, is there a better way to do? So we have something called the requirement pattern as well. Pattern is something that you do over the time, and then you will learn about it. So it's good to know about what are the requirement patterns so that it can become a checklist when someone new to go down to capture the requirements. Or maybe this pattern should be recorded, right, as we go on, so that it will save time and reduce costs. Okay, let me give you an example of what we learned during the class itself. Okay, to take, actually in this class, we have about 15 workshops with various case study. One of the case study that we discussed is Levi's. I think everybody know what is Levi's. Okay, Levi's is famous for their jean. So their mission is to provide casual and work clothing, right? And their vision is to become a worldwide leader in the distribution of casual and work clothing. And the objective of Levi's, like all other organizations, of course, is to increase profit, improve customer service, increase market share, and reduce the cost, right? So that the company can earn good revenue and also can earn the loyalty of the customers. Okay, so business strategy of the Levi's is they want to become 100% focus on customer. Okay, so in the past, they are more product focused, because how do you know what are the style that is popular, or what are the sizes of jeans? As you know, if some of you that is from retail, right, or maybe even some of you who go shopping, right, you will notice that for the same style, they need to give different sizes, right, of the model, and also different colors, right? So likewise for Levi's, they have a lot of retail store, right? They need to find out what is the popular model that they have and what is the popular size, so that they can produce more of it. If they also need to find out what is the non-popular style and the non-popular size, so that they will actually reduce producing those non-popular ones, right? So in the past, what happened is that when they want to find out about this information, they have the R&D team. Okay, so what the R&D team do is they will go down to the retailer. They have about 3,005 retailers, so they have to go down, meet each of the buyer and have lunch, right, to discuss over the lunch, build the relationship, so that they can find out what is the trend for the customer, because they are at the back end, right, designing and also producing. So they will go down to the retailer, and imagine each of them will have to spend time traveling, also buying lunch and get the feedback, right? By the time they come back, there will be a time that they need to spend in order to get the information back, and then they back to their office, and whereby they will actually tell the design team to say, hey, these are the popular models, can we produce more? These are the popular sizes, can we make more as well, right? So they will get all this information. However, today, the decision is no longer the way they make decision no longer go in this way, because they want to focus customer. Instead of asking the retailer, they want to get the information directly from the customer, so that the R&D team no longer need to go down. They can focus to design a Levi's engineered jeans as what they have promised. Okay, what does it mean by a Levi engineered jeans, right? As you know, Levi's is one interesting product whereby if you unstitch the jeans, okay, if you're trying to copy a Levi's jeans, it's not possible. Why? Because if you buy a new Levi's jeans, you just want to copy the styles, right? So that you can make the same one. Once you unstitch the jean, you are not able to stitch it back to the original form, okay? This is due to what the R&D has done, and they call it the Levi's engineered jeans. What they have did is they have implemented a supply chain management system, okay, whereby they link the retailer and also their vendors together across the Levi's data center. So more about Levi's. It has 39 production plant, right? And it has about 3,500 retail stores. So what happened is, whenever there is a customer that buy in a retail store, now the information is sent back to the data center, and straight away they will know that what is popular, because with the 3,500 retail store, every day the data within the store will send back to the headquarters to say, hey, today the bestseller is model A, right? And how many sizes is being bought. So with that, they can now actually order the material directly from the factory, and they can produce very fast, so to replenish the stock for the popular model. So now what happened is, if the purple strip jeans is selling well, what will happen? It will replenish the retailer with the hot selling jeans, right? So they will order more material for better selling jeans. And they will improve the profit, right, for the customers. And now the retailer can focus on hand quality to reduce overstock. Okay, as you know that in the retail store, right, the storeroom is not very big, right? So one of the objectives the store trying to do is to reduce its inventory. So with this system, they would be able to reduce the stock significantly, so that they make sure that they have enough stock for the fast-selling products, so that customer don't walk into the retail shop and say that, hey, sorry, I don't have your size. Can you come back another day? It will be a loss of opportunity, right? And the customer might not be happy. Maybe they will walk to the store next door, whereby they will buy another jean instead, maybe. When the jean is selling well, they should have more stock, right? And the popular sizes, they should have stock up more as well. So if the jean is not selling well, what will they do? They will stop ordering, right, the raw material, and they will not need to replenish those stock that is not selling well. And this will have a negative impact on the customers. So they will also have a very fast knowledge to make a decision what is the market trend and the customer expectation. So to look at this example, from a business context, it's not just a supply chain management system, right? So at the end of the day, what is the value that is being delivered by this system? So is a faster delivery of hot selling jeans. Reduce is a just-in-time inventory, okay, reduce the stock. It increased the KPI, and it also motivate the staff, and also to manage, have a better manage of their business process. So some of this impact at the end of the day is happier customer, better profit, and better stakeholder value. So looking at this case study, to actually implement a solution is not just by looking at various solutions option, but we are also looking into the business objective of what we want to achieve at the end of the day. So this is one of the examples in one of the workshops that we did to look at how business impact on technology. Okay, so there are about 15 workshops that I have mentioned earlier on. Each one of them will look into different aspects of the case study. Okay, that's all for all the areas that we look at. So for this particular course, we're looking at the pathway. Where can you go after this, right? So far, what I have described is about the skill set for architectures. However, in order to be successful, there are more than the skill sets that you would need to look at. Okay, one of the areas that you need to look at is the framework, which I think a lot of you are familiar with, which is one of the popular framework in the market is TOGAF itself, right? So you need to learn about the framework, you need to learn about the skill set, you need to learn about the notation, which is the languages, and also the tool and repository, if you want to be a well-rounded architect. Okay. At the end of the day, there is a roadmap. So as you can see in here, we have business technology requirement architecture. This is a fundamental skills for all the aspiring architect or the architect itself, right? So all architects should learn about business need analysis before they move on to the foundation skills and to learn about architecture's framework, languages, as well as eventually specialize in each of the areas. Okay, the career roadmap will be as such. As you can see, the BTRA is suitable for anyone, for business and IT team who need to align, or from anyone who want to switch their career path to become a business analyst, right? It also be applicable for all the aspiring architect who want to be an architect, right, in the near future. So this is something that they can learn on. And of course, for the practitioner architect, we will assume that you already have this competency, the business need analysis competency, then you can move on to the foundation skill and also the EAO, as well as specialize in one of the architectures. But for those who has more than 10 years working experience as an architect, you might want to consider as a master architect. So there are also certification that is available that you might want to look at. So this is a architect career pathway that we will recommend for anyone who want to move into this area. Okay, so we also have program to help organizations or individuals to move towards this career path, right? In order to be an architect eventually, you would need to learn about the business need analysis, which under the PTRA. You will also need to learn about the foundation skill and also the framework itself, right? Plus, of course, you would need to have the on-the-job training program to skills some of you to become the aspiring architect. So for those of you who are currently the business analyst, data analyst, or system analyst, and if you want to work towards as a practitioner architect, so this is the program that you can go through. Okay, and for those of you who are already architect practitioner, which means you are already in architectures for more than 3 to 5 years, you can also start to look at the path to become an architect specialist. That means you will specialize in one of the areas, deep skilling, and to learn about some of the competency and the skill set that is required. Okay, so without further ado, that's all from me. So if you have any questions, do put it in the Q&A, and I will hand over to you, Beatrice, to talk more about the grant that is available for this program. So if you are interested to find out more about this program, do put down in the feedback form so that we can get back to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Alicia. Okay, just let me share my screen now on the funding. Okay. Go. Okay, good news is that we have the BTRA, right? This is a Skills Future Singapore, which is the SSG funding. Now for the corporate, I'm pleased to let you know that, you can actually tap on the Skills Future Mid-Career Enhanced Subsidy. This means that when you look at the course fee, which is 1,002, you actually get a grant amount of 82, and the good news is that there is absentee payroll, which is $4.50 per hour. That gives you to $94.50, and at the end of the day, the net fee payable is with GST will be $384. And the good news about corporate is that for SMEs, you can actually also tap on the Skills Future Enterprise Credit, where you are given right up to 10,000 claimable per enterprise. Okay, and as let's see, okay, for those who are looking at self-sponsored, for Singaporean and PRs, there are different funding. So if you're looking at the citizens, Singaporeans who are 40 years and above, you will also get the course fee funding, which is 1260. And the grant amount, that's a cost fee, this is the grant amount, and the net fee payable is 384, in which there is actually additional funding that you can use. So, which is a skills future credit that every Singaporean is given to up to about 1,500, but you can use up to 1,000. So in this case, for example, if you have a skills future credit and you only need to pay for your course fee, you can just use the balance. So it's almost an equivalent $0 in terms of investment. Yeah, and then also if you are an NTUC member, it is also UTAP claimable. So there is up to like $500 given to individuals for NTUC members, where you can actually claim 50% of the $500. Yeah. Any questions on the cost fee? No? Okay, so now we are going into the Q&A sessions. I'll hand it over to Kailin.